Hey guys, Derek Hudnall here, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, and I'm going to talk to you guys about one of my favorite ways to catch summertime bass. When everybody's up deep, I'm up shallow. I'm from South Louisiana, guys, and you're in a fishery that either the fish live shallow all the time, or you're in a fishery that you think they live deep all the time. I can promise you, there is never a situation or a time of the year where fish don't live shallow, and this is an incredible way to catch shallow fish when A, nobody thinks they're up there, and they are, and two, nobody spends the time to learn how to be really effective at a weightless wacky worm, especially during the summertime. So I'm gonna get to that summertime deal here in just a minute to help you guys to put more fish in your boat then, but the setup is so incredibly important when it comes to a weightless wacky worm. From the bait to the line to the reel to the rod, the setup has to be perfect in order for you to maximize your efficiency on the water with your, all the way from the cast to landing that fish and putting him into your boat. So we're gonna start with the bait here. Guys, this right here is a Missile Baits 48. This bait right here has probably put more money into my boat than anything in my tackle box, bar none, because this thing will flat out catch them when nothing else will. Why is it called a 48? It's called 48 for a reason. It's 4.8 inches long, so it's a little shorter than your typical 5-inch Senko stick style bait. It's a little bit fatter on either side as well. And why is that important? Number one, it helps to skip this bait incredibly well, and then also it's fatter on either side. That way, whenever it starts to sink, that wobble, it kind of enhances that wobble as it goes down, which is super important. It gets that fish's attention, and he absolutely just cannot stand it. If you're ever in a situation where you know there's a fish there, it's a high percentage cast, a weightless wacky worm is an incredible way to put that fish into your boat. So let's talk about the setup here. We went through the bait. The hook is incredibly important. You need to make sure, now I always throw a weedless setup, and this Gamakatsu G-Finesse weedless stinger right here is incredible. It is absolutely the best wacky worm hook on the market, bar none. I have fished them all. This thing is insane. It's got titanium weed guards. A lot of people mess up. Be careful if you're throwing a weedless setup on a wacky, because a lot of them are too stiff. Number one most important part of any fish catch is hook point penetration, and you want to make sure it's not too stiff to where you're not getting a good hook in your fish, or you're going to lose some. This titanium weed guard is super, super limber, but it's also enough to keep you from getting hung up, and it's not going to impede the hook set. This Gamakatsu weedless wacky stinger is just absolutely incredible. I've caught so many fish on this setup, and the landing ratio, hookup ratio, is very, very high on this setup. So that's putting the hook in the fish, very important. And every part of this setup, from top to bottom, to weight, to hook, to line, is all equally as important to make sure that you're being efficient with your cast and you're landing every fish that you put the hook in. Let's go to the line. Again, very, very important. We're going to start with that lime green high-vis Sunline X Plasma braid. That's 15 pound. This is what I use for my backer for two reasons. Number one, it's going to give you more hook point penetration instead of just doing straight fluorocarbon. It's going to give you that backbone. You're going to be able to really put the hook in the fish, and it's going to be more castable as well. So I have an Alberto knot in between my 10-pound Sunline Sniper leader. I'm a 10-pound guy most of the time. I do an Alberto knot. Some of you guys may do an FG knot, a uni to uni, with whatever knot that you have the most confidence in. The Alberto knot for me, I can tie it very easily, extremely fast on the water if I need to retie at any point. And it's very, very small, comes through the guides, extremely smooth and easy. That's just the setup that I prefer. And I'm typically a 10 to 12 pound. This is a 7-foot 3-inch rod, so you can see where my knot is here, about where my bait is. So it's about 12 to 18 inches outside of the spool. That way, when I reel down to make a cast, I'm about one turn of the spool to where that knot's inside of my spool here. Why is that important? Because you don't want too long of a leader, because if your knot's buried in there, you're going to have a pretty high chance of whenever you make a cast that your line or that braid's going to catch that knot, and you're not going to make a good cast. And that could be the cast that could be your fish of a lifetime, your tournament winner, the one that makes your day. So making sure that you're efficient and being efficient with every single cast is very important. That's why my leader is 10 to 12 pounds. Some people like a longer one, but I just don't like mine not that far into that spool whenever I reel up to make a cast. Just something that's more of efficiency for me, something you might want to think about next time you tie a leader. So we're going to get down to the reel. Again, equally as important. This is a 2500 reel. This is a 7 GX series spinning reel that just got released this year. Insanely smooth, incredible drag system, guys. So the drag system, this GX series has a ball bearing drag system in it, and that's something you don't see a lot. A lot of drags are metal to metal, and they just have some grease in between it, so it catches sometimes whenever that fish is pulling drag. With this ball bearing drag system, you get a smooth drag every time that fish is pulling, because you need this drag to be working efficiently and pull smoothly. That way it's not putting too much or not enough pressure on that fish whenever a big fish, you know, in particularly is trying to run, and you need to let him run and do his thing. Drag system is very important in landing that fish. So that GX series spinning reel, very important in this setup. So the rod, another incredibly important setup. You don't want too long of a rod, you don't want too short of a rod. You want that perfect setup to where you can be more efficient in your cast. You need to, you know, this is a 7.3 St. Croix Legend Tournament MLXF. That's MLXF. That stands for medium light, extra fast. Incredible backbone to keep those fish hooked up, get good hook point penetration, but it has a really good tip. And guys, that tip is so important in this setup, because if you're not used to really skipping baits and skipping a weightless wacky worm, you need a good limber tip in order to get the tip speed and that rubber band effect to get maximum cast distance and be able to skip this thing, you know, way up underneath docks, behind trees, underneath limbs. Putting this bait where you need, you know, where nobody else can, is going to give you that a competitive advantage, and that's why weightless wacky setup is so incredibly important. That way you can be more efficient. Setup front to back, and again, I'm 5'9", guys, so I'm a 7.3 MLXF. This length of rod will probably work for 95% of you. But hey, if you're 6'5", you have long rods, you might want to go up to a 7.5 or a 7.6, just depending on your leverage point, and that's something you guys need to figure out. But this 7.3 MLXF is absolute money for this setup. So let's talk about summertime a little bit. You know, you young guys, you tournament anglers out there, and you're looking, look, summer months can be incredibly tough to fish, and you're looking for that competitive advantage. Everybody's out there throwing big plugs, football jigs, they're out there scoping. And you're up shallow. You know, you're saying, hey, I'm going to target the fish that are shallow. I can promise you guys, there's not a time of the year, especially the summertime, where they're not shallow, especially if you're on a lake with docks, if you're on a lake with trees. Summertime, you need to concentrate on shade and cover. Shade is more important than cover. Cover can be more important than shade at sometimes. It just depends on where you live. I'm really concentrating on boat docks. I'm concentrating on shade lines on trees, cypress trees during the middle of the day, and even the early parts of summer when the bluegill start spawning. This right here can be one of the most effective tools in your arsenal, in your tackle box, to put some really big fish during the summer months, the really tough months, to give you guys that competitive advantage, especially in the summertime. Do not sleep on a weightless wacky worm during the summertime. This can put giant fish in your boat. It's going to catch fish when nothing else will. And you can find yourself on the winning side of some of these derbies in the summer months that you never would have expected. So take your time, guys. Learn this setup. Learn how to be efficient, and the best way to do it is just to keep doing it, keep throwing it, because your efficiency and your casting and being able to put this thing exactly where you want it is going to equal your success. And then the next key is just to find the fish, put it to them. But hey, boat docks, anywhere you have shade, summertime, those fish are going to be. And this weedless, wacky setup, this Missile Baits 48, I can promise you will put more fish in your boat in the summertime when nothing else will. But thank you guys for watching. Tight lines, and we'll see y'all next time.